I'm here with Supreme in Las Vegas. Supreme is from the Wu-Tang Clan, and he's also a Vegas Immersion coach. We're really lucky to have him, and thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you.
I guess I wanted to introduce you to everybody in RC Nation in terms of what your background is. How'd you get involved with the music world? What's evolved? And then get into some of your stories about your mindset, because you've been speaking to our clients and just taught some of our Vegas Immersion students, and they were raving with great reviews.
Cool.
So first of all, what got you into the music business, and what has your career been like so far?
I initially got into music at the age of 10. Took it more seriously at 12. By 15, we secured a deal with Arista Records. That evolved into producing, working with a lot of groups in the Bay Area. From there, traveling back east, because that was at that time the mecca of hip hop, you know. Was able to connect with RZA, who is the basically leader, the head of Wu-Tang at the time. And we connected, went back east, worked, was producing, doing whatever I could really to just get a foothold in it. And we were in California, and I was just like, what's up with Wu-Tang West? Like, what's up with the West Coast, you know? Because although I had moved to New York and we were doing New York hip hop exclusively, pretty much, my heart was always, you know, loyal to the West Coast. That came into fruition some years later, and we were able to start Wu-Tang West and the West Coast Killer Bees, and that aspect of Wu-Tang, you know. From that, I was able to produce for different artists, R&B artists, score films, and just continue my career and developing myself as an artist, a producer, a writer, etc.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned is that I think Wu-Tang has sold 65 million records, albums.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And you have been involved as a rapper since you were, what, 12, 15?
I wrote my first rap at 10. Professionally since I was 15, yeah.
Okay. And when did you start going on tour? What age?
We started doing regional stuff and domestic stuff at that age. So
at 12, 15?
No, at 15.
At 15, eh?
Back then it was like they would announce you, you'd be like in the kitchen or in the back or outside, and then you go in because they serve alcohol or whatever. Couldn't technically be there, and we'd perform and then leave, like get our little $50, $100, whatever, you know. And we'd leave, and then it went from there, you know.
Nice. So where'd you go, and what were some of the experiences? Did you meet a lot of women when you're doing that?
All the time. When I was 15, it was like 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds, and trying to just like teach you or turn you out, so to speak, be your first. So that was easy, you know, just.
So I guess you had a lot of firsts?
Oh yeah, I've been, you know, first 1,000 times, but the amount of women is probably more than I care to know, but the count that I kind of keep is pretty high. It's in the thousands.
Now, one of the things that I thought was interesting was the students in Vegas Immersion were really kind of raving about the way you see the world and your mindset that you have with women. So I'd love for you to discuss a little bit about your beliefs of how men and women should be interacting with each other.
I believe that the natural order of things is just that. You know, it's like man, woman, child, sun, moon, and stars, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You know, solids, liquids, gases, protons, neutrons, electrons, like everything has an order, everything has a fixed position. I don't believe in like being biased towards women or, you know, inequality towards women. It's never that, but there's an order in regards to position. There's an order in regards to respect, you know, and I think that it is mutual, but I think that man being the dominant, being the provider, being the physically stronger, being the one who is supposed to be the maintainer, etc., the protector, has a different role, you know what I'm saying, and different obligations. I believe that if you want to look at religiously or if you want to look at it just naturally, that the woman has a role to really please her man, help assist a man or her man, and to submit to a degree to a man. Not submit so much that she loses herself, but to submit in order to maintain the order of the universe, you know?
Well, I'd like to talk about also, as somebody who became famous in the music world, how often has that affected your interactions with women in dating? And as opposed to, say, someone who is a normal person that hasn't received acclaimed fame, right?
Exactly. What I look for is women who don't know me. The ones who know me, that's easy. That's automatic. That's just like either they come and they just want to get it on, they want to give it up. It's automatic, and then it's just your choice as to whether or not you want to deal with it, and go that route. Or you can look for women who really don't know your celebrity, don't know my fame, so to speak, and then that presents more of a challenge, and that's where I'm at now. It's like I need some type of resistance, some type of challenge, some type of, mental stimulus, or stimuli. I need some kind of little chess match to just even make it intriguing or make it worth my while, After you get into so many women and you've been with so many women after a while, it's just like, what are you gonna do next? How you gonna go down? How you gonna move it? How you gonna bounce it? How you gonna flip it? Like, what's new? What could you do that the last 5,000, 7,000 girls haven't done? Like, what's different? What do you have to offer that's different? So I'm kind of into those aspects now, unlocking the mind, unlocking women who are culturally and traditionally like closed from, the normal rules of dating or male and female interaction.
Well, from the Vegas Immersion students that you've trained so far, what are the important lessons that you've taught to these people?
The important lessons that I've been able to impart thus far is really for them to know themselves, know who they are as men, know their strengths, know their power, know their position in the universe and creation, and to find their self-worth, their self-value, and to never fear seeking or finding pleasure, never fear knowing that they're worthy of anything that they desire, never doubt that they qualify, with any woman. It's just them being able to see themselves, to realize who they are as a man, as a soul, as a being, as an entity, and to embrace that power and to move forward with it and to be the dominant factor, in their lives, and to be the ones who ultimately decide their success or failure with women or beyond.
And what do you think are some of the best field experience that you've seen from your students?
The best field experience is them closing. Just straight seeing them with doubts, seeing them with insecurities, and being able to interact with them, to free that in their minds and in their hearts, and to see them go out and execute and succeed and lock it in and get it.
Well, tell us about some of these experiences so far in terms of how the client started off before they met you.
Yeah.
And what you had to do to get them to the point where they could do that.
I had a couple clients that were very, very, very insecure, like actual true introverts. Some were due to religious issues and their upbringings. Others due to peer pressure and societal standards, like, nerds and geeks and jocks and, the popular and the unpopular, and they were, dramatically affected by that. Sitting down with them, for an hour, we'd talk prior to going into a club, 30 minutes, just, huddle up real quick, pre-game, and give it to them, and seeing them go out and just attack. And like in one conversation, like lock the girl in, and like I get a text like, where you at? Like, I'm like, what's up? Are you good? I'm going to the room, and being able to close it. And in the debrief, finding out, what it was with the game, them being able to initiate the conversation, to actually tell the girl who they are, about themselves, and to be able to listen to her and respond to her with equal answers, that brought down her walls and her insecurities and her defense mechanisms in such a rapid speed that like she was ready to go, like in no time at all. They were in the room doing their thing, and I'm like texting them, are you okay? And then you get a report of a great night, and that they were able to fulfill that aspect and, you know, that desire. So yeah, it's good. It's a good feeling, and it's a great feeling for them. And then when I get to see them after, and they're happy, and they've found that strength in themselves, and then for them to realize that they can do it, you know. And then after that, the level of I should say their self-esteem, you know what I'm saying, their own inner strength, their power, you know, they're actually finding themselves. You see the light, you see the happiness. And it's like, all right, let's go next night. Now let's really go now and just step it up, you know. So that's the best things that I've seen so far in my students.
How would you compare going out with your students versus going out with your boys from back in the day?
It's two different worlds. You know, I'm running on like 10% with my students. Because when you with your squad, like we're all alphas, we're all gods, you know, we're all kings, we're all rulers, we're all there for battle. You know, so it's like swords out, we taking heads, you know. It's automatic, you know, because everybody's on that level. So it's good to see students, you know, and it's like, wow, you know, like I was never there in some things that they're dealing with. It's like mind blowing, like this stuff even exists. Like you think like this? Like I never even thought to think like that, you know. But then to be able to have the experience and the wisdom to say, you know what, I know that, you know, these things, you read about it, you see it, you know, throughout life, but to actually be able to go in and say, all right, what are your issues, you know, and to analyze them, to coach them, to give them the necessary advice they need so they understand it, you know, because I could teach them all day. My understanding is mine now, you know, so just being able to give it to them until they comprehend and they understand it and they get it, and seeing the change in them, seeing the change in their approach, and all the way up to their closure with a girl is satisfying. It's fulfilling for me as a coach to be able to see that happen. In regards to the level, I would like to be able to get my students up to the level to where one day we could just go out together and just murder it, you know, and just meet a group of girls and just that's it. Let's go. You know, that's simple. Like it's, you know who we are. What's up? What's your name? Okay, what's your name? All right, cool. That's my boy. All right, so what's good? You guys want to dance? You want to say you want drinks? All right, let's go. We can do all that at the house. You know what I'm saying? And just bring it back to the hotel and just end the story. You know, then it's just like pictures, videos, you know what I'm saying? And just like, you know, continue the cycle, and then be able to share that, and for them to be empowered enough to be able to impart that, you know, to other students and other men out there who are seeking, you know, advice and who have some of these same issues, you know, to know that change is promised, you know, with this program. It's immediate. If you come here, we're going to give it to you, you know, and that's what it's about. Yeah.
One of the things I think is interesting about your style of pickup and how you interact with the world is that we also have a secret instructor who's never really on camera. He's a successful millionaire businessman, and he has a very similar attitude in how he interacts with women. His name is Derek, and he's kind of a famous instructor who has been sold out like so far that's to sometime in the middle or end of next year.
Wow, nice.
His very direct approach and how he interacts and how he talks to people, I think is really interesting. And now what you do is that you talk to people in this very direct and different way. How would you break down your conversational skill sets and how you interact with girls going out, dating, what have you?
Okay. The way that I would really break myself down is I use my own life experience. Something that I've done with my own free will, my own mind, my own life, my own education is that I went to school. I went to UC Berkeley. I did that. I went to the military. I did that. You know, I played sports. I did all that. I did that. I did the music. We sold millions of albums. We toured, slept with thousands of girls. We've done that. You know, I've studied Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, Shintoism, Taoism, Egyptology, Freemasonry, you know, up through the high degrees to the 33rd, and just studying human and social intercourse throughout my travels, throughout my life and my time, really being a student of life, right, has helped me to really be able to understand people, to interact with people, to understand their needs, and to really analyze and dissect them through culture, through religion, through tradition, through classism, through sexism, through racism, and really have a great view on people. With that knowledge, it's easy. I'll just straight up, it's real easy for me to approach a woman who is, raised in the system, in the matrix by television, the media, the mainstream, because people are conditioned, right? So, like with a question, there's only so many answers, Like, how are you feeling today? I'm feeling good, or I'm not so good, et cetera, et cetera. So, with the conversation, you can control the conversation, you control the thoughts, you can control the mindset of a person by asking certain questions and knowing what the answers are. And then from that answer, there's only so many answers to the next question, so on and so forth. So in reality, when you're communicating with a woman, just like the sun sheds light on the moon receives that light, reflects it onto the stars. Then she's receiving and reflecting your light, which is knowledge, right? So the same way I'm going to ask a woman a question or I'm going to give her knowledge, I'm actually controlling her thoughts at that moment. So whatever questions I ask or whatever answer she's going to give, so actually I'm just in control of the entire process from inception to completion, or from, meeting a girl to closing with her, you see. I've never had any doubts, any issues, any problems ever getting any woman that I ever wanted. But in regards to how I do it, it depends on the girl, it depends on the race, it depends on the day, it depends on the weather, it depends on her facial expression, it depends on how fast she's walking, it depends on what kind of clothes she's wearing, what kind of car she got out of, what kind of friends she's with, what kind of, dances she's doing. Like, I'm analyzing every single aspect of this woman, breaking it down, and then it clicks, and I just it's just like the sniper, I put her in the scope and I fire, and it's one shot, one kill. Yeah.
How would you describe your understanding of how to deal with women and your skill sets and communication, and how that has affected your business life and social life in general?
That's been up and down, because women, you have to learn that women are their own entity, and women are not men. So I've had great successes with women, and I've had great failures with women that I ascribe ultimately to myself, through lack of understanding and sometimes respect and appreciation for who they are. This isn't about objectifying women. It's not about degrading or belittling women. Women are seeking the same pleasures. They have the same wants and desires, the same lust and passions, the same happiness and sadness and love and hate, the same pain and pleasures that we have. So understanding that, it's really to go into a situation with good intentions, because my intentions is never to hurt anybody, and to constantly refine my speech, constantly refine my game, so to speak, constantly refine and learn consciously while I'm in a conversation or in a dialogue with a woman. If I don't close for some reason, immediately I'm just grill myself, like, why? What did I do? Like, what happened? Sometimes you see it happening, and sometimes you can correct it, and sometimes it's just not there. When it's just not there, it's just not there. Sometimes it's not you. I never oppress myself. I never, I'm never hard on myself to that degree, but I'm always like, okay, what could I do better? How could I always fix it? No matter what level you think you're at, you can always improve. There's always another angle. There's always another perspective. That's what's great about, RSD and the Immersion program is like the coaches, especially like Luke. Shout out to my boy Luke. I love him. He's a great dude. Is that there's so many dynamics, to it, that knowledge and education in regards to, closing, ultimately, because that's what it's all about, is infinite. Because women are constantly learning, they're constantly growing, they're constantly evolving, and so should your game, As much as we put in movies and TV and songs, we tell them all our game, And that's kind of the thing that in the last decade or two has really hindered some men, because women are now being gamed so much that they got game now. So sometimes they see you coming, sometimes it's, women just open themselves up, and it's like, if they talk to you, then they're giving you their time. If they're giving you their time, then it's on you, You know, if a woman stops and she gives you her time or she gives you her attention, then it's on you at that moment. It's a success or failure, you know? And that's just the growth process. It's all right to be told no. It's all right to be turned down. It's all right, you know? But the thing is it needs to be more closures, you know what I'm saying, than failures. And that's what it's about. Like, what's the ratio? So you can play the numbers on that. If you talk to 100 girls, are you closing 60 over 40, you know, or 70 over 30, you know, or are you closing 20 over 80? Are you failing more than you're succeeding? And that comes with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and experience, you know. And right now, this is the only place that I see anybody being able to obtain that information. Yeah.
What are some of the events that have happened in your life with women that have been in a situation where you're thinking to yourself, I'm really impressed with what I was able to accomplish here today?
Yeah. Other celebrities, other women of status, doctors, lawyers, CEOs, the things that they'll do for you, the things that they'll acquire for you. I've closed some women that were, you know, like, in cultures and religion and part of families that it's like taboo. It's like a no-no to sleep outside of the race or outside of an arranged marriage. To close things like that is like, all right, I did that, you know, like I made that happened, you know. For women to like go so far as to, you know, give you homes and cars and take you on trips around the world, and, you know, like, you can do it for yourself, but when another woman does it for you, it's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, where are we going? We're going to Alexandria. Oh, like Virginia? No, Egypt. It's like, okay, all right, that's cool. We're going to Paris. You know what I'm saying? Vegas? No, France. It's like, all right, let's go. You know, so the levels of how far you can go with it, you know, are infinite. You know, I've closed some women that, you know, out of respect, I won't disclose their names, but they know who they are in TV and in film, and, you know, it's just automatic. Like in a restaurant, like, hey, how you doing? You know, I'd like to meet you. Oh yeah, here, take my number. And it's like, what? Like, just like that, you know, take the number. Hey, what's up? You told me to call you, this and that. Yeah, what are you doing later? Yeah, all right, here, I'm gonna have my assistant text you my address. Just call us when you get to the gate. And it's like, damn, you in the house, you smashing immediately, you know? So sometimes, like even with my students, we'll go in a club and like girls want to come up, they want to kiss you, they want to hug you, they want to grab your privates, you know, they want to grab your crotch. And, you know, sometimes girls are like, oh my God, you're so fine, I want to F you right now. And it's like, you know, and dudes are sitting there like, what do you do? It's like, what precedes you? What's your magnetic, you know? So what is your spirit? What is your energy? And how do you build that inner man? You know, something I did with the students, I said, everybody close your mouths. I said, now say, I'm the king. In your mind, say it right now. And they all said, I'm the king. They all thought it. I'm the king. I said, did you hear yourself say that? They said, yeah. I said, but you didn't speak, so how did you hear yourself? I said, so who is that person? You know, that's your true self. So that's what is preceding you when you go to meet a girl. You know, that voice that's in your head is prior to your mind transmitting the thought to your brain transmitting the thought to your tongue and your vocal cords, and you speaking, saying, hi, my name is Tim, or whatever. You know, that energy is going to precede you, and that's what they're going to feel first, you know. So it's getting men to really understand that, you know, and giving them the keys to unlock that inner power, that inner strength, you know, that inner man, you know, that inner beauty, so to speak, and let that shine and let that project and precede them, you know, prior to even speaking, you know. And that's going to unlock a whole lot more in her mind and in her spirit, because then that's the connection women are always talking about. So with that, I think, you know, raising that bar for myself, meeting men who are on higher statuses than me in different areas of life, helped me to, you know, really achieve and attain those higher levels and those higher statuses, and interact with those women on those levels that can, you know, give me those success stories that I can say, yeah, I locked that in, I closed that deal. You know, that I thought even sometimes in my mind, I'm like, well, she's such and such, and she got her manager, she got her agent, she got all these people around her. But then it's just like, man, I'm going to talk to her right now. Like, fuck it, pardon my language, forget it, you know, and just, that's it, and lock it in. So, yeah, I got some great stories to tell.
As someone who is so busy with all these projects, music business, and your social calendar, How are you deciding how aggressively to follow up with the women that you're meeting versus going out and doing your thing?
Something that I've learned is that a woman will always acknowledge a true connection. Something that men have to understand is that game is only game to those who don't know game. So if she don't have any game or she don't know your game, then you can game her, right? But game doesn't have to be false. You know, you can be who you are. You know, you can really be that person. You know, you don't have to be excessive in telling stories or, you know, fabricating things. You can genuinely be yourself. You know, that's what this program offers, is for men to find themselves and to be themselves, you know. And you can be yourself and still close successfully with those same women, with the women who you think you can't obtain. And that's what my thing is like, I make that connection, even if I can't get back to them, even if I can't like sleep with them immediately, even if I can't have developed that type of relationship with them, the connection is real. I can lock it in with a text message, you know, periodically, just text them, periodically send an emoji, periodically send I'm thinking about you, and just keep them, you know, so to speak, kind of like in the Rolodex or, you know, on the waiting list, you know, until I can get to them. Sometimes you get to them, sometimes you're just meeting so many new women that it's too many, you know, that you can't get to all of them. And sometimes they'll hit you up a year later. Hey, I met you. Do you remember me? Hey, I was wondering, are you in town? Or, hey, I saw you on Facebook, or I see you guys are doing a show. And, you know, I know we never got to hook up or spend time, but I've been thinking of you and this and this and that. Man, I met you like 2 years ago, you know, like seriously. So they're always there if the connection is real, you know, it never dies. I don't believe that it ever dies.
What is the most important advice that the Vegas Immersion students would need to have from you if you were going to, say, create a lecture for the students today?
The most important advice I can give them is to number one, sign up. To number two, commit. So number one, sign up. Number two, commit. Number three, prepare yourselves to be immersed in knowledge, right? And to be accepting. Something that I want to say is that people have understanding of a lot of things, but they're not accepting. Like, we all understand that eventually we're going to die. We all understand that, you know, we'll have success and failures in life, but do we accept it? You know, the best advice I can give them, guys, is, you know, to know that they're worthy, they're valuable, you know, that they matter, and that success is theirs to take. You know, pleasure is their right. You know, satisfaction is their choice. You know, so come on and let us give you what you need mentally, you know what I'm saying, emotionally, psychologically, and give you the strength and the information that you need to make that change within yourselves to thereafter go out and find exactly what you want in this life. Life is short, man, and you got to live it, you got to own it, and you got to take the bull by the horn, so to speak, you know, and take what's yours while you're here, you know, get your slice of the pie.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, bro. It's good stuff. And if you're interested in joining Supreme, check out rsdsupreme.com. Go to Vegas Immersion's website, vegasimmersion.com, and have a chance to meet RSD Supreme. Take a look at the description below and click on the link below. And thanks so much.
Thank you. Peace.